go and take a look at Tramtown in Blackpool.
What we're going to do, we've got 40 odd trams in here, but you'll not see them all. Right, you'll pass them, but you won't see them all. We'll just point out the more important ones if you like. Okay? Carol's frightening you to death with health and safety. So if you do fall in a pit, it just means a lot of paperwork, that's all. That's the easy way of doing it, isn't it? If there's a fire, take big steps. Follow me. Alright, we'll let that one go. If any of you ladies want toilets, we can sort you out. There's a little shed in that corner there.
Yes.
I'll put some newspaper up for you. Right, now John, do your best kid. Yeah, yeah, we're fine. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're set in that top corner. I'll just go a brief history of what happens to this place. What's going to happen in the future, and you're going to see a film of what this is going to be, alright, because it is back to basics at the moment. There is oil on the floor, it is a working site, alright, we do have tram movements as well, that's why you all have to wear them, okay, so we can see you, especially if you fall in the pit. Have you any questions before we start? Anybody parked in the daft place for 2 hours or something like that? You've packed in home bargains. How long do you know? Have you not? 2 hours. 2 hours. Is it 2 hours? Somebody takes Alright, so we'll start at that top corner. Okay, we can't go in these buildings, but I'll tell you what is in them buildings. Alright, so if you follow me. (1885), they put the first building. This is a picture of the first building. You just see the train coming out, but that's 1960s, and that's all it was. All right. They only had 4 trams at the start. Okay. A guy called Michael Horrod Smith invented the way that we could actually run them. It either horse-drawn, okay, which a lot of times we're doing anyway. All right, but we were the first to actually have electric. And the rail, it ran, a separate rail ran down in between these. And it was similar to a kind of scale electric, if you like. And this is a picture of the first one, the conduit system. Okay. Now, I went on one last week in Wales, but that were rope guided, but were pulled up by a big rope, all right, a wire. Alright. Now this one, it had a copper piece in the middle there, just like a sleeve. So the tram would slot into it, and that's what would actually run it. When the Victorians came here, they thought it was a bit of fun, and that Blackpool had put on this entertainment, because when it got wet, flames used to shoot out of it. And they thought it was just entertainment. It weren't. It actually stopped the trams, okay, because water and electric doesn't mix, does it? Okay, and what happened then is, because the trams were stopping, because of high tides, etc., they ended up using horses from the funeral service to pull these trams, and it went on for months, that. But Michael Horrod Smith were coming up with a new system. Put a pole on top of a tram and put these wires up, and that would make it work. He went to Blackpool Transport, told them, and they said, no, you're not putting fishing rods on top of our trams. You're not putting wires everywhere, we won't see the RSC. He said, it's either that or your tram stop. So he won, and he got these poles up top. Now, one of the trams that they did have was one of these. A dreadnought, massive tram, 90 passengers. It'd be horrible, apparently. It looks nice, doesn't it? It'd be horrible. The last dreadnought went to Fleetwood Graveyard, and then it got rescued by Crouch Museum. And unfortunately, we gave it up. That was a mistake. But we gave it up, and now it's parked up in a barn. It's not used. Okay, it's not shown. So we could have it back, really, if we wanted. We'll try and beg it back to put in our museum, because that's the last remaining dreadnought of Blackpool.
But why did you say it was terrible?
Apparently, it's horrible to drive.
Oh, right.
Yeah, it just kept doing funny things on its own. I don't know. But they only had a few of them, they didn't have many of them. This one is another one, a toast rack. You just climb on, all right? Similar to like San Francisco, if you like. Okay? And the other ones were just the standard trams, which are that one. And you see a couple of standard Bolton tram down there is a standard tram. All right? Right, so that's it. 1885, all over there. 1930s, they acquired this land. Then they started to build over here because they wanted more trams on the film. We always get filmed. Now, these buildings here came from Manchester Airport. They built the Spitfires in them, believe it or not. And all them buildings are going. Inside there, we've got a paint shop. We've got a body shop. We've got an engineer's. All that is coming over here into the first phase, as you like. That end there is the first phase. So all that lot will be going over here. All them buildings are coming down. If you want to buy brick, come and see me privately and I'll sell you brick for £1 or something like that. There is a bit of history in them bricks. All right, I'll do that privately, all right. I've sold it. Okay, if you want any wood, you can have it. But what's going to happen then is all the buses are turning to electric. Bit contention, if you want electric, that's up to you. All right. Anybody got electric car before I call them? Mobility scooter, just a bit bigger. That's all you have, isn't it? I've just seen a bill in America of a battery for a electric car, 29,000. And it had 70,000 on the clock. And it was an invoice for 29,000. So if you want an electric car, that's up to you. All right. So all the buses are turning electric, and we need charging bays. So all them buildings have got to go. You can't charge them inside, unfortunately. So we've got to put fire hydrants up and all sorts. What you're paying for is to have some double doors put on the front of the first phase, because they need protecting from the weather. Bit soft there. Okay, so that's the double doors at that end. But you're going to see a film of that. The second phase will be this part. These are trams that are actually running. This is the fourth phase that you actually studied. And all this will be platforms and trams that are on shore, etc. So there'll be statics and all sorts going on. All right? So this place is going to be completely different eventually. It had a 5-year plan. We're 3 years into it. Nothing's happened. All right? The buses are supposed to be electric now, but unfortunately they've not built them all yet. Well, we've got to wait. We've got to wait till London's got theirs, I think. I don't know. Don't know what's going on. All right. Everything was actually done from here. We had the generator, well, the power station was done from here, and we, like I said, we were the first to have electric. So we've been eco-friendly since 1885.
But presumably, were there sections? So you're saying the voltage building up, but were there actually discrete sections?
No, you've got like 10 minutes between trams, don't you?
Oh, right.
But if you notice on tram parades that we take 9 trams out all at once. All right, they do creep until, and then when they get to North Pier and they decide that they're carrying on, they separate them then, and it gives a chance to build up again. Yeah, that's how it actually works. All right. Other towns in the country, Bolton was 1901. I talk a lot about Bolton because that's my town. All right. I came from Bolton and then moved here. Who wants to live in Bolton? Every time somebody comes from Bolton, I say, what do you do? All right, that's how it works here. Okay, right. And that's how it's actually going in this place. And hopefully, I'll see it. Whether I will or not, let's say we're 3 years in now. Not yet. Okay. Let's start with the first one. This one. The prototype. You know the flex sticks we've got on the trams now, the new ones, that came in before. And that was the test tram. But they rebuilt it anyway. and that is going out to Preston, I believe. I think they're having tram tracks. Must be. I mean, people thought the end of the trams were here in 1930s, didn't they? They're coming back. Okay, and that's that one. Right, we move round a bit. Most common question we get asked. So this is the tram. That went to Fleetwood Graveyard, and everybody kept saying, why don't you rescue it? It would have been easy to put 710 on another tram and say that's it. But somebody, armchair experts, would have spotted that it's not actually moved out to Fleetwood Graveyard. So we said, well, if you want it rescuing, you pay for it. And we got the money in about 3 days, well above it actually. We told them how much it would cost to bring it back here, and we got it in about 3 days.
The videos on YouTube are just coming back.
Yeah, it's all on YouTube, yeah. But the thing is now, we own it, the volunteers, so we've got to do it up. Now we've got to start cleaning it and do something with it, but it's got to be repainted. Now the plan is to have it as a static display, so we'll put a spot somewhere and we'll ask Madam Tussauds if they've got Alan Bradley somewhere, and you can stand there like an idiot going like that, yeah? Alright, good in it. The one directly behind it is a red and cream one. It was green and cream at one time, that went up to Sunderland and then got repainted. That was the other one on Coronation Street, so he passed one before he got hit by the other. This one had no passengers, only the driver. That one had full of passengers from Blackpool. They dragged them off the streets and what have you, threw them in. Apparently it took about 6 takes to get it right. It was all done outside the Strand Hotel. If you want to know, there's a blue plaque off Strand Hotel telling you all about it. How people still remember, I think it was 1989, weren't it? 25 million watched it, something like that. And so I upset some woman, she said, which one killed Alan Bradley? I said, none of them. He was only an actor, wasn't he? He didn't get killed. He's dead now. Okay, Windsor, 1970, then we moved on. Vale Boy, 1937. Nice one though, isn't it? Nice and clean. Yeah. Redevelopment and all this Fleetwood. That's how we went through more of that. My favourite one here. Now, that was 1901. Bolton decided that they wanted trams as well, because they did have horse-drawn trams, yeah, at the time, and they wanted electric. And believe it or not, they bought some off Lytham, which were ex-gas trams, diesel trams, I believe, weren't they, in Lytham?
Yeah, they had gas trams.
Yeah, but Bolton bought about 6 of them, I believe, and they converted them into electric.
Sure, it's a stupid question, but what's the gas tram?
Well, they had gas and diesel experiments instead of electric. That's all it was. Not very successful. The diesel tram that they had, one of them that ran over Lytham Road, there's a railway bridge, yeah, and you had to get off the tram and push it up. That's what the passengers had to do, yeah. That was the only way of doing it.
But the gas, though, they actually had presumably compressed gas?
I don't know, to be honest. I presume it was, yeah.
Goodness.
Okay. Now, this one, you had 3 people working on it. You had a driver, conductor, and a trolley boy, as they were called. Derek Shepherd was a trolley boy. The driver got £1.30 a week. The conductor got £1 a week, and the trolley boy got £1 a week. The trolley boy used to turn the pole around when it got to the end, or he'd switch the lines. Because don't forget, they went electric as well. All right, so he'd switch the lines. And you had to work in all weathers. As you can see, it's open. It did have a bit of an enclosure on it to protect the driver, but Derek Shepherd decided that he wanted to keep it as original as possible. It was originally an open top tram as well, as many of our trams were. Okay. So if you had money, you sit downstairs. If you didn't, you go where Slovenes were. Right? It would also deliver newspapers. So what they do is go up to Tillotson and pick up the Bolton Evening News, or Bolton Standard as it was then, and they would drop them off at the different news agents on the way. Another job it had was delivering parcels. It was the original Prime, Amazon Prime. All right.
Probably better than them as well.
So it would deliver them on the way. And I believe it would also pick up cotton from Liverpool to deliver to the mills, to the cotton mills there. So they had all sorts of uses, these trams. All right. On the top you see, H, it's nothing to do with heritage. Okay, we put heritage tour on it, but it has nothing to do with it. H is Halliwell, it's part of Bolton. Okay, and then you have double, it'll be a D, or a T, Tom Moore. Okay, so it might have H on this side, and then it might have T on the other side. So as it switches round, now it's a T. And the reason that they put the letters on is because the majority of people couldn't read, even though they wrote it on the bottom as well. Okay. You couldn't smoke on a tram until the last tram of Bolton went out, then you could smoke on one. You couldn't spit on a tram, you got fined 40 shilling if you did. That's a lot of money, a couple of weeks' wages, isn't it? All right, so there was no way of spitting out the top window like we did when we were kids. Right, what happened with it? 1947, Bolton got rid of the trams and they had to sell them. You could buy one quite easy if you wanted one. They took the front end off the back end, depends which way you look at it. So the front end, back end. You ended up with that just centre section, no top deck. And a lot of them went on farms and they were converted into caravans to give kids holidays. Kids had never seen a cow before, never been out of the town. So they'd never seen a cow, they'd never seen a sheep, so it was a bit of a treat. So it converted into a caravan. This one did get converted into a caravan. And then, that is actually the Bolton tram. Wow. It's not a very good picture because it's been blown up. That is the Bolton one. Alright? Now the farmer who had this one turned his from a caravan into a chicken shack. You can get the pictures off Google if you search for them. But he turned it into a chicken shack. And he had a couple of them left. I think the other one was 87 or something like that. And Derek Shepherd were on a ramble and he spotted it. And he got a couple of guys together and said, shall we rescue it? So it was the last remaining Bolton tram, as far as he was concerned. Another 100 of them went to Miggleton Towers and ended up as chalets in Podtins. And I always ask the older guys, have you ever slept in a tram? No. Have you ever been to Miggleton Towers in Morecambe? Yeah, you slept in a tram. All right. The rest of them got tipped over and scrapped, burned. That's it. The end of the tram. Okay. The bogies, the wheels, you have to find them because they didn't build them anymore in Preston. So he had to search the world for them. He went everywhere to try and get them. And they ended up with some from Berlin. So they're not original bogies. They're from Berlin. Okay. So the tram's built. What did he do with it? Brought it to Blackpool. That was 1960s when the tram were built. Those are the ones with the chalets. When they converted them into chalets. I said the last tram of Bolton. Bolton Evening News decided to take some photos. And that's one of them. That is on the last tram. You could actually smoke on the last tram. They give you a treat. Okay. There's a little lad in the corner. Where is he? There. On that one. Alright. So Bolton Evening News did a story on it. And I like the story. I think it was brilliant what they actually wrote. Now don't forget, as far as they were concerned, throughout the country, this was the last of the trams. It said, towards the end of the tram car operation, Bolton Evening News published a series of photographs depicting the trams. The little fella on the left might well be asking in a few years' time what a tram was like. If someone preserves these pictures for him, it will save a lot of explanation. Moreover, perhaps in another 50 years' time, when everyone owns his own helicopter, I never got one of them. I don't know what happened to it. He himself will be able to show the pictures to his grandchildren and prove that he once rode on a quaint and ancient vehicle, a tram. They thought that was the end of the tram throughout the country. But Blackpool still went. It was still going. Alright? The reason that Blackpool still were going is because at one time they used to run around the town, alright, right up to the Bulletin Centre, and they took them off the roads because buses and cars were coming in. The last tram ran Dixon Road to North Station. We had it here, actually, it's gone to Crouch now, it's gone back to them. But that was the last tram. Then they moved all the trams down to the Tram. They were running, where the road is now, that's where they're actually running. But they've moved them further over, haven't they? Alright? So now we've got 11.5 mile of track straight to Fleetwood. The only time it hits the road again is when it gets to Fleetwood. And if you're driving a car and one of these big trams come up behind you, it's a bit scurvy, alright? Because they don't stop on a 6-foot, so if you slam your brakes on, they will crash into you. Okay? So that, we are taking them back on the road shortly, back to North Station, because when that hotel's finished, alright, then we can start travelling back to North Station. It has been tested, alright, and that'll be back on the road again. Okay, we do want it further actually, we want it to Victoria Hospital, but I don't think it'll ever happen. Alright, so that's why Blackpool still exists. Don't forget Blackpool wasn't anything like this in Victorian times, it was just a little village. Okay? And the Victorians only came here for a bit of health. To get a bit clean air, if you like. Alright, because they were living in the towns, cotton towns, where the smoke was. And they used to drink the seawater. You bet they were good for you. And when the first guest house opened up, they used to put the seawater on the table for your breakfast as well. Okay, you wouldn't do it now, would you? You get a few flakes in it, wouldn't you? Especially with what they've been dumping in it lately. There's all sorts dumping in it at the moment. But the Victorians fell out of favour because when the buses started and the coaches and the cars started coming into town, you were getting common people, if you like, coming into town, not the rich folk, okay? So they didn't like it. They flitted and went to Southport, alright? But Blackpool carried on. You can push me, but don't tap me. That's Reginald Dixon what's going on. The last tram to be named. He was the organist at Towers Ballroom, where the whirling seas come out to the floor. He used to play that. Right, the balloon tram, 1934. First ones. I said the rail coach in 1937. 700. And that is wartime colours. The reason that we call it wartime colours is because during the war they had a surplus of green and not a lot of cream. Yeah. It takes one man to paint that. That's all it needs. He's a very busy man. Yeah. Now imagine in the early days when all the trams were running, they had to keep them running. We had a couple of hundred here. Okay. We've had a few diesel trams in the tram. I'll show you one that's been done up. It's fantastic. Right. You're going to see it in a bit. Right, so we'll move on.
Down there.
Where they put some of the counter.
Right, we move on. Oh, the engineering tram. He wants to get rid of a lot of these trams. It's funny that they put it on a balloon tram because he wants to get rid of a balloon tram. But we do have trams that get named and we get people ringing up. Can you name them after me husband? He lived all his life in Blackpool. No, we're not any Stobart. Alright? You want a wagon named after him, you can go get a wagon, but we don't do that. Yeah, there's special trams that do get named, but you have to do something special. One term, so the diesel engine will be in the centre there. Alright? We have a thing about burning trams here. It's set on fire. Yeah, okay. And it nearly destroyed it. One paint man's done that. Okay. All he's done is some of it's decals, so all they do is put the stickers on. But otherwise it's all hand painted. Yeah? Yeah, well, I mean, we don't have guys with spacesuits on and spray guns. The reason being is because of the wind and the sand. If they took a tram out, that's just been sprayed. Alright? And it's very good paint, it's excellent paint to use. It's good on the bird bath and I've got standard lamp in. What's the bottom? Standard lamp, and anything metal is fantastic. Yeah, it lasts you for years. It won't do me. They have tested it. What happened was the thingamabob on the what's name near the what's it, it broke.
Oh, the what's it?
Yeah, the what's it broke. Yeah.
The
thingamabob. That's it, the motor. All right. They sent the motor away just before COVID kicked in, and unfortunately we didn't get it back. I don't know. Right. So it was the same with the one behind it that you're going to sit on in a bit. So what happened was they took that one off that tram and put it on this one. Now they've tested this a few times to get it running. All right. It has been out on test, but it's got to do so many tests before it gets passed for passengers. It's just a safety thing, that's all. So I don't know what's happening. We will be getting out this summer, but it'd be great to have this one out, that one at back, because that runs and they just need new motors, that's all. All right. Haunting this bit. You're in the most haunted part of the building. That's why it's so cool. We're in here at Halloween again. We did last year. And the tram that you're going on, shoot. And we couldn't explain it. And we saw a figure at third window. I think it's the actual guy who brought it back from America. So that's Ray Roberts for you. Okay? Now I'll just show you what kind of a job they can do if we can get round. We'll go round this way.
Where's that one from?
Eh?
Where's that one from? Where's it from?
Oh, that would be Preston.
Preston.
Yeah, but the one behind you is Motherwell.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Good, I like that.
So, whole big take over that. Alright. It seems strange that we've got a tank in here. Okay, but I'll just tell you a little story, not much. Just tell you a little story about it. That was built by students. Okay? But they did have a tank in Blackpool. A real one. That's a World War I tank. Taken off. Anybody in World War I?
No. Nobody apart from you, boy.
I hate you. I can't understand the words she said, but I think she called me then. She normally does. All right.
She said you were lovely.
Oh, did she? That's unusual. First time she said I'm lovely. Right. They didn't know what to do with it. It's lottery funded and they didn't know what to do with it. And I said, I know what to do with it. I'm going to rebuild it. All right. That is the tank that was on Albert Square. Albert Street, Albert Square, something like that. All right. And that was an actual tank. Okay. So when World War I had finished, what they did is they brought the tank over here. And they packed it up to get funds for the war effort. Now, the soldiers that were coming back from the war weren't happy about that, seeing another tank. They've just seen enough, all right, so they wanted to get rid of it. So they got rid of that tank, and guess what? They built another one out of plywood. Yeah, not that one, but they built another one out of plywood. Right, it's got Albert on it, an 88. Lindsay Albert Parkinson was the mayor in World War I, and he was collecting money. Now, Parkinson family were very important to Blackpool, but unfortunately the council had forgotten about it until I mentioned it. Right? They've got a picture of him, a portrait in the town hall, in between the guy who built Blackpool Tower and whoever built Winter Gardens. But they forgot about this guy in the middle. Parkinson, he was a keen golfer, they were a rich family, and he bought all the golf clubs are owned by him. All right, he paid for them. Okay. Blackpool Zoo, Stanley Park, he paid for it. Miners Hall down the road, he paid for it. Paid for the tram tracks in Fleetwood. Paid for the football, Blackpool and Fleetwood. All that, all done by him. And they forgot about him. And I said, no, that shouldn't be done. And I said, can I have that tank? I'm going to convert it into that and put his name back on it. Town Hall have offered me a portrait to put on front of it and tell the story of Parkinson. I think it's important.
Yeah.
So we're going to have it as a static display. So we've just got to persuade the lottery to give it up. That's all. I don't know why they want it now, but we've just got to persuade them to give it up. Right, the one in front of it, you're going to get on and watch a film.